For FWC, every snake removed is a win.
That's the Public Information Director with the FWC talking about the invasive Burmese python that's taking over the Everglades. The Florida Python Challenge is a state initiative to remove the invasive species and encourage people to take an active role in conserving one of our state's natural beauties. My fiance Cole and I took a trip to the Everglades with some reptile enthusiasts who gave us a first-hand look at that problem.
This area is called Sparrow Island.
Sparrow Island.
It's been called, you know, there's a lot of birds out here.
This is Isaac Rimpey.
So we can go either direction.
Okay.
I've seen python out along this edge.
He owns Affordable Wildlife Removal, a business focused on humanely removing nuisance animals throughout the state.
I'm just so passionate about being around animals. Like, it's always captivated me.
And this is David Weathers. He says he's been licensed to handle and breed exotic animals in the state for more than 3 decades.
I grew up here. These are the Everglades that I grew up in, catching snakes, and that's all I've ever done my entire life for over 30 years now.
Isaac and David are part of a group of reptile enthusiasts affected by new laws passed this year.
From the FWC perspective, it's a big problem. These species have been around since really about the 80s. We've been actively removing them for years.
As of 2021, 16 non-native animals, including the Burmese python, have been added to the state's prohibited list, and that now limits future possession of these animals.
For the Python Challenge, you're not allowed to transport a Burmese python live within the state. That's the rule, and that's part of some of those ongoing rule changes that have happened and developed over the last couple of years. You do have to kill the snake if you catch the snake.
David believes he has an additional solution to removing the snakes without having to kill them.
I feel like if there's even 1,000 of these animals can go to a home outside of the state of Florida and never have to worry about getting stabbed in the head, then those 1,000 animals should have a chance.
The new law prohibits licensed handlers like David from being able to capture and resell the animals out of state in places like Ohio, where the snake wouldn't survive in the wild.
If you had to guess, how many pythons do you think are in the Everglades?
Oh my goodness, such a hard number to guess. So over the past 3 or 4 years, we stopped counting at 300 snakes. And
our goal for this trip was to take part in the Python Challenge.
What we're going to look for out here, especially as the sun's starting to set, is we're going to look for snakes traveling. They're going to be moving along the edges.
Carolyn Parrish with the FWC says for every 100 snakes you pass, you only spot one. And we found that to be the case. We searched miles and miles for 16 hours.
Pull it out, man.
And in the last hour of hunting, we found a 7'8" Burmese python.
You know, it's a shame that that's the way we've got to handle it, but through and through, we've got to protect our state. We have to protect the Everglades, so we do what we have to do.
So in accordance with Florida law, we euthanized the snake on site where we caught it and turned it in to a python check-in station the next morning.
And in total, FWC says they've removed about 10,000 of these snakes so far from the Everglades. And in our 16 hours of hunting, both including driving and walking on foot, not once did we see a small mammal, no raccoons, possums, or squirrels. And John, as we know, these are the main food source for these pythons along with birds. So really an eye-opening situation and what's happening there and just the big problem that's going on there.
Yeah, I heard in days past it was loaded with those little critters.
Yeah.
And now you don't see any. What was it like holding that heavy snake?
It was pretty wild.
Yeah, I bet.
It totally gave us a different perspective. I'm not a reptile person by any means, but talking to these guys who were so passionate just about animals in general, it definitely makes you think twice about the situation. I can definitely understand their perspective as well. And you know, this is just one of many invasive species in Florida, 16 now on the prohibited species list. I've got that information on our website, mysuncoast.com, if you are in fact interested in checking it out. John.
Good stuff. Never release your pets into the wild, that's for sure.